Hi, I'm Ghita Benslimane. I'm a video producer at Brut America. I'm from Casablanca, Morocco, and I'm here with Anuz and Dipika on the podcast at the end of the day.
Thank you so much, Rita, for sparing your time to do this podcast.
Thank you.
And by the way, I should mention this. Rita and I, we went to school together.
Yes, we did.
Right.
At CUNY School of Journalism.
Yeah, that was a good time.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
I
We even
miss
had
it.
one class together, right?
Yeah, we had which class was it?
Was that social
Social video
class.
Video with Bob. Yep.
With
Shout
Bob-
out.
yes.
Shout out to Bob.
Bob
Sasha.
Sasha. Oh, by the way, I should mention this. So Rita is the one who taught me how to make Instagram stories.
Oh, did I?
Yeah,
Oh,
you did, yeah.
That's
Remember?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
a little bit,
Yeah,
a little
she
bit.
taught me
Now
on
you're
Instagram.
great at Instagram.
Oh wow!
Yes,
Check
she's the
out,
one.
check out his Instagram, listeners.
Oh my God! I feel so proud to meet you.
Yeah, she's
Because
the one.
A little bit.
like there were days in the initial days when he started this a challenge for himself, saying that every day I'll make one Instagram story about my daily life. I said, oh my God, you're wasting so much of time. I used to be so fed up of him, spending a lot of hours doing that. But now I said, okay, he makes really good
it's
stories.
great.
Good,
It's awesome.
very
I
good
always
Instagram
wonder,
stories.
Like, how much patience you have to find the right angles to
Right,
tell
right.
the story.
Right.
So
Yeah.
plug your Instagram for the listeners.
Okay. Yeah, just go to Anuz the Thapa.
On Instagram.
On Instagram. Okay, not about us. Now we are here to talk about you.
You.
So Rita, so you came to America to do your undergrad,
Yes, correct.
and you were in Boston.
Yeah. I
Let's
was
start
in
from
Boston.
there.
I'd always dreamt of coming to college in the States. I grew up going to an American school. So the next step for me was obvious. I wanted to come to the US for undergrad. And I studied film and TV at Boston University. It's funny because I knew I wanted to stay in the US after college, but I didn't prepare myself, enough. I didn't know. I thought it would just be easy. I thought I would come to the States and it would get figured out. I didn't do my research. I didn't know that if you graduated from a STEM program that you could get more years of OPT, OPT for you guys who don't know is a work permit for international students after they're done with their studies.
Okay,
So-
wait. So if you are a STEM student, which stands for
Science,
technology,
engineering, math.
maths,
Okay.
yeah. So if you are a student of one of these,
Yeah.
you have more years for your
OPT.
OPT?
Yeah, so you have two more. So it used to be one more, and then President Obama, shout out, changed it to 2 years. So 2 years on top of the first year that everybody gets.
Okay.
So everybody gets 1 year after they finish school. So, but even these very basic things, I didn't know about. I just thought, I assumed that if you go to another country and study there, that there would be some pathway, that it would be easier somehow. I knew that my brother had done it, but my brother was not very we didn't talk about that as much, and
Right.
so I really came in sort of naively into the U.S. education system, thinking it would be a breeze to then get a job, et cetera, et cetera. So so I studied business for the first 2 years, and then I realized that I really loved making videos, so I switched to film and TV, to the dismay of my parents. Hello, guys. Sorry. And then I got, after school, I was lucky enough to get a job at Snapchat in New York City. So that was a dream job for me. And from the get-go, the possibility of sponsorship seemed like it would be a challenge. I was told that, my position at the time, they couldn't sponsor me for it. Eventually, after about 6 months over there, they did decide to sponsor me for a work visa called the H-1B. So for those of you who haven't heard about the H-1B, this work visa is for specialty occupations. So it's for people, it could be for models, it could be for people who work in tech. So Snapchat was sort of a right fit for that. It was a pretty easy process to apply for it, but come to find out, it's the process through which the U.S. immigration system reviews those applications. It's a very complicated one. So a lot of people mention a lottery process.
Yeah.
They get, for the last few years, they've gotten 250,000 plus at least applications, H-1B applications around the country, companies wanting to sponsor their workers. And they run a random selection on a database of all the names of all the applications and select 85,000 people to even review their applications. So all the rest of the people, their applications, they don't even get read.
Right.
They get thrown out somewhere, or you just get a rejection letter after a couple weeks, basically. So I was one of those people. So yeah, that was a difficult time. I had to move back to Morocco, and so I decided to do journalism, and I worked for a news organization in Morocco called Morocco World News, and we're the first English language news site. I was able to, develop my passion for reporting and going to press conferences in Morocco and learning like how the journalism industry works. But America was always in the back of my mind. And I ended up coming back for grad school, and I petitioned CUNY to make its program STEM. So that was really, really great for all the international students at my school.
Ghita, I would love to know more about how you, thought about digital media coming under STEM.
Just happened to call career services at New York University to ask about their journalism program. So we were on the phone talking about this, and I was like, it looks like it's under STEM. And she was like, yeah, we're actually under STEM. We petitioned to have our programs become STEM programs under the digital media and communications. So ever since then, I was like, if this journalism master's program can be STEM, why can't any journalism program? When I decided to apply to a school in the States, CUNY seemed to be the more obvious option for me, even though I had to take the gamble that they were not going to make their program STEM. So I got a scholarship with CUNY, pretty generous one, and I couldn't refuse the offer. And I sort of just moved back here on the gamble that I would be able to convince the dean to make the program a STEM program. And so to any listeners out there who are international students who think that their program might, factor in a STEM, your dean might be more flexible than you think. Reach out to people. Reach out and also be confident. So I didn't just like message my, email my dean and be like, hey, can we make our program a STEM program? Like I wrote up a whole proposal. These are the benefits. This is how our programs, can qualify under STEM. These are the benefits for your students, your American students, because first of all, if you have STEM program, you're probably going to attract more international students, aka more money, and so that benefits your American students because you have more resources, and then also obviously benefits your international students because then they can go on and flourish in their careers, and that reflects better on you as an institution. So using those arguments to really make it sound like, and which is the truth, is that making your program a STEM program, if it does qualify, can only be an advantage to everybody involved. So once I figured out how this could work, just kept pushing, just kept showing up to his office every other week, like, hey, any updates? Like, you don't want to push too much. I gave him his space, but in the end, it was a matter of 2 days. In the end, once he figured out the person to talk to, he emailed, he said, we'd like to change our STEM designation. We got an email back, approved. That's it. Everybody gets 2 extra years. Like, that's it. And the day I got the email from our dean, I was crying. Because I did not just only change my life, I changed the life of all the international students there that were on student visas.
So Rita, I want to know how you navigated job hunting process while you were studying at school at the same time.
When you're looking for a job and you're an international student, you want to be careful about the way that you discuss that with a prospective employer.
Okay.
So you want to highlight the positives. You want to say, if they ask you if you have work authorization, you say that you do, because you do. You have 1 year of a work authorization. If they ask you how long, you could say, well, I have 1 full year, and then I don't know. Like, you could try to gauge, if they're gonna like sponsor, and you can make your choices based on that, based on how many prospective employers you think you may have. Like, at the end, for me, I had 2 job offers, and I sort of made my decision based on that. I asked the 2 companies, what is the likelihood that you'll sponsor me, and that decision swayed me a little bit. So you want to highlight the positives. So for me, I had the STEM degree, so I had 2 extra years. So in every phone call that I had, I would mention that. I would say I have a year permit, and then I can extend it for another 2 years. And then yeah, and then so like they get that positive vibe of it's fine, she has 3 years, that's all right. So if you do have that option, like highlight the fact that you are available, because sometimes, let's be real, these HR people, like they're looking through all these applications, especially if you're not coming in through a connection or something. They might, subconscious racism, they might not look at your application even just by virtue of seeing your name, or by virtue of seeing that you're from Morocco and that you're gonna need a visa and blah blah blah. Like, I can understand in a way that could be hassle. I don't appreciate it, because I feel like every candidate should be like treated fairly, but it is something that we need to be aware of, sadly, that those biases do exist. And you want to present yourself in a way that you seem like a good catch, and you aren't, because you have all these other experiences, like being from another country, that you could use to make the company better. Diversity only helps the company.
Is there any message you want to give out to all international students who want to make their career here?
Yeah. So international students, before you apply to schools, figure out what your goals are for your study in the United States. Is it to get a degree that you'll be able to use back home? If so, do you have the availability to use it back home? Do you need to get an equivalency? Pick the degree that is going to suit your needs best. If the point of you coming to study here is to study your passion, and to study something that you're going to be able to use in the US or abroad, perfect. If you want to have a career in the US, and if you want to move to the US, which is also completely valid, pick a degree that could help you get a work visa thereafter. Figure out all the OPT rules, all the CPT rules. There's so many acronyms everywhere. Look them all up. There are so many websites and forums. Like, learn everything that's going to apply to you during your experience here, preferably prior to coming here. So good luck. It is a journey. But just get informed. That's number one. Get informed. Know your rights. Know your qualities and your skills, and be confident about them, because if you're not confident in yourself, no employer is going to be confident in you. And yeah.
And if anybody wants to reach out to you for any advice, are you comfortable sharing your email address to them?
Yes, absolutely. So feel free to reach out to me with any questions regarding international students. That's sort of, the specialty that I'm in terms of my knowledge. My email is GBENSLIMA.
Okay.
Yeah, ANE@gmail.com.
Okay.
And feel free to put the podcast name.
So towards the end, we would also like to thank ARNIC, that stands for Henry Rome New Immigrant Center, for providing us the space to record the podcast. If you are a new immigrant, and if you would like to take English language classes, if you want to take classes on how to build professional skills required for the job market in the US, well, ARNIC is the perfect place, because they provide free classes to the recently arriving immigrants and the refugees. So definitely keep in touch with ARNIC or ESU, the English Speaking Union. And then keep listening to our podcast and keep following our podcast.
And do subscribe to our channel, podcast at the end of the day.
Yes, so we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, a quick note. If you have a personal story that you think might be helpful to the newly arriving immigrants in the US, please contact us. We would love to feature you in our podcast. Go to our website, podcast@theendoftheday.com, and write to us by going to the feedback section.
And by the way, if you love this podcast, you can support us with a small donation. Your help will enable us to continue producing more episodes. The link to support our podcast is in the description below.